Welcome in, friends. It's time to place your bets right here on Betting Pros without Joe Pisapia. Nope, the bald beauties, they're all out of here. It's nothing but luscious locks for you in week 10 on this Thursday episode. Look at those luscious locks we've got. I'm Chris Welsh. You can find me on Twitter at @IsItTheWelsh, joined by our two experts of the week. Of course, we always have Andrew Erickson with the gorgeous hair, the gorgeous picks, the props, the sides, the totals. It's all there for you. And my best friend in the world, we got Scott Bogman, who decided to wear a hat and not show off those luscious locks. But I can tell you, they're quite gorgeous. So it's a lot of hair today.
I washed my hair today, Welsh, and it will poof out to like right here if I take this hat on.
I think that would have been a pretty good look, if we're being honest.
You would. So
yeah. Mr. Erickson, how are you, my friend? No Joe Pisapia this week. I think he's off drinking butter beers in Florida or something like that. So it's just the three of us holding down the fort to make some of the best bets this week. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, no, I mean, we got a barn burner tonight between the Chicago Bears and Carolina Panthers, so that should be fun to watch. But got my Patriots playing in Germany. I got a
you ready
best
to wake
bet
up early?
No, I'm not. So it should be fun. There's a couple interesting spots here on this card this week. There's one spot that I think we're going to start off with that I really like. I know Boggs likes it as well. So let's dive in.
Yeah, we're going to do the whole thing, getting you all your sides and totals, and make sure that you are locked in here to the Betting Pros YouTube channel as well, so you can catch us on Friday as we're going to be talking about props and everything under the sun for betting. But I always want to remind you guys, have you checked out the Betting Pros app? It's on iOS, and you can do that really anywhere on the app stores. We've given the app a fresh makeover, and you can create a better overall experience. So if you're looking for the community section, we've got feeds you can follow, track your bets. There's prop bet hit rates. Everything is there. Go and check it out today and download the Betting Pros app and get going. I also love the app line alerts, where when you download it, you can get game notifications for certain lines that you're looking for. So when those hit, you can jump on your book and you can start betting today. You'll be notified, lock in the best lines possible, and you can set what number you want on your sports book. So head over to bettingpros.com/apps and download and start setting your lines today. These gentlemen, they've got some lines for you on the sides and totals. And Erickson, you mentioned it at the top. You guys actually have a shared game that you love so much. So Erickson, let's talk about Detroit at the top for our favorite lines for the week.
Detroit is like my favorite blanket that I wear when I come out from the cold here in New England. It's fall. It's cold. It's rainy today. But like the Lions, this blanket covers me. The Lions have covered 15 of their last 18 games. 83%. That is by far the best in the NFL. They've covered 83% of their games just this season. So it's been consistent dating back to the middle of last year. Looking at this number now it's at -3. I got this at -1.5 because I actually bet on the Lions before the Monday night game against the Chargers, because I was like, there is no way that this game's outcome could be, I'm going to back the Chargers when they play the Lions next week. The Lions are playing off a bye week against a Chargers team that's coming off a short week, playing on Monday Night Football, where their offense looked like it couldn't get out of its own way. So I don't understand why this line is giving this much credit to the Chargers as a fraudulent team that has beaten up bad teams in back-to-back weeks against the Chargers, against the Bears and the Jets. I mean, the Chargers have been a team that we looking to not bet on. Like, we want to bet against the Chargers, and against a team like the Detroit Lions, who have been the class act, I think, of the NFC for mostly this season, aside from that one loss to the Ravens. I mean, they've been in every single game this season. So for me, Lions, I think that the line is like, Jared Goff on the road, man. Like, I don't know about this. Like, guys, he's playing in Los Angeles, where there may be more Jared Goff fans than Justin Herbert fans, number one. And the Chargers don't have home field advantage anyway. So I think it's road Goff that you're getting even value. Like, even at -3, it's like, this team is better up and down in every single category. It's just the fact that they're on the road. But like I said, this is like the least roadiest road game there could possibly be for Jared Goff. So I love the Lions here.
It is weird, and we don't have to do a big switch over because we're staying in this game. It's not quite trappy. It doesn't have the makings of a trap, because I think everything you said, it's built up where you look at this game and you go, there is the standard 3-point home advantage that's given, and maybe it ticks down a little bit into the 2.5. But you look at this game, I don't quite understand where we are with this, because we've got David Montgomery back. We have a fantastic matchup for Goff against his secondary. So Boggs, talk us through why you love this game so much, and probably echoing a lot of what Erickson was talking about.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people don't like Goff on the road, but let's live by our boy Joe Pizzapia saying Jared Goff is an indoor cat. And this is an indoor game. So they're not going up north in the snow to play. They're going to LA in the sun indoors to play. And, Erickson mentioned it all. Detroit gets David Montgomery back. Amon St. Brown isn't sick anymore. He's had enough time to deal with that. And we just saw the Chargers, albeit in a win, get dominated by the Jets D-line. They took down Herbert 5 times. If they let Aiden Hutchinson make noise, it's going to be a long day for the Chargers. They just won against the Jets with only 191 yards of offense. That is not the formula to beat a Detroit team coming off a bye, with the Chargers coming off short rest. It's just, to me, this was one I'd like to stay away from the same games, or just away from the same bets. But I was looking at this, and I'm like, well, screw you, Erickson. You can't have this one by
this
yourself.
was the best one. So
I got to have this one too. It's too easy.
This is the
It's
best
the first
bet
one I put on the
shows.
sheet. Yeah, it's the first one I put on the sheet, and then I saw you had it second, so I moved it to second. But we started with it here, and I like it a lot. I think it's one of the best ones of the week. I think the Lions roll the Chargers, and Brandon Staley, one of the worst coaches in the NFL. So now that McDaniels is gone, he might be the worst.
By the way,
it's not good.
Who's the number one outdoor cat of quarterbacks? I have an idea of who I think it is.
Mahomes.
You think Patrick Mahomes? I think it's a little too easy.
He's played in a lot of weather games. Yeah.
Okay. But I guess I was thinking like Sam Howell.
He's
like
King Farrell.
Sam Howell to me feels like a very outdoor cat, because I like that term there, where Jared Goff on the indoor.
Sam Howell is the cat that disappears for 2 months and then comes back, and you're like, oh, you're not dead. Okay, look at that.
Yeah, or
That's
disappears
Sam
for
Howell.
2 quarters, and then it's like fourth quarter, and then
Praise on the Eagles. Comes out.
Praise on Eagles. There you go. That's our outdoor cat. Officially locked in. Sam Howell, our outdoor cat. All right. We've got more best bets. Let's kick it over to a total. Erickson, your second on the best bets for the week. We're going on to the total market.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens under 37.5. I've talked about the Ravens on this show a bunch of different times, where they play down to their competition most of the time. So when they play a bad team, they usually don't play nearly as well. They don't execute, I don't think, with the same composure. And that's kind of reflected on what some of their stats have been. But when you look at the total, so they're 6-3 towards the under the season. And again, it's mostly against bad quarterbacks. Like, the Ravens have had a pretty easy schedule, which I think it's getting lost a little bit with like how they're viewed as like the best team in the NFL. It's like, look, they've played 2 NFC teams. The NFC is worse than the AFC. We already know that. And they've destroyed them both at home. Like, they haven't played them on the road, so they've had a favorable schedule. But regardless, a lot of these games are going under the total. Looking at what they've done as favorites, 9 of the last 10 Ravens games as favorites have gone under the total. You're looking at what they've done at home. 10 of the 11 Ravens' last home games have gone under the total. Like, do we really expect Deshaun Watson? Again, when they play a bad quarterback, it goes under the total. Are they afraid of Deshaun Watson? I don't think so. So again, just following the trends of what the Ravens usually do against bad quarterbacks, it's going to go under the total. So I like the under here at 37.5 in what looks to me like a AFC North, like black and blue slugfest type of game where you're just trying to gut out a win. And I do want to point out the Ravens, how they scored offensively in this first matchup. They put up 28 points. You might think, oh, well, they scored so many points. I'm not so sure that happens again, because a lot of that was short fields. DTR was the quarterback. He was just turning the ball over. The Ravens didn't have to do a lot. They didn't have to sustain a lot of drives in that game to score their points. It was like red zone stuff. They actually punted a lot in that game when they didn't have the short fields to work with. So Watson is obviously an upgrade over DTR. He won't turn the ball over nearly as much. So I think that the best bet here is on the under 37.5.
Well, Boggs, you have a bet in this exact same game. So you guys are going to stay in the game. It's a different bet. So let's stay in Baltimore. And you say, no total, sir. Spread it out.
Yeah, I'm taking the Ratbirds here. Give me the Ravens against the Browns. I think they are clicking. Like Erickson mentioned, the last game, between these two, it was DTR. So you take that game and throw it away. I mean, it was not a very good game. In that game, the only thing that we learned is DTR ain't ready. So that's all we got out of that one. But I mean, Watson is not 100%, and there's like every week they're so, well, he's still dealing with the shoulder injury, and it's probably not going to be good until he has surgery.
Is that how they sound?
That's like, how they all sound when they're talking about, well, he's still not 100%, so he's not going to be playing his best football. Ooh, all that. But the Ravens are kind of clicking right now, especially in the run game, and Keaton Mitchell adds some explosiveness that is missing from this offense right now because Zay Flowers had it, but he has been on a bad stretch right now, but they're getting it from other spots. If it's not Flowers, then it's Mitchell. If it's not Mitchell, then it's Mark Andrews with big plays or Lamar Jackson. They have a bunch of ways to beat this Browns defense that is very, very good. And on the opposite side, the Ravens have been taking down quarterback. Kyle Van Noy was getting after the quarterback last week. They're not, I don't even know if they're clicking on all cylinders defensively either right now, but I think they are much better than this Cleveland team is now. The Browns defense is good. The only way I see the Browns really competing in this game is if they force fumbles. And Lamar will fumble. That has happened, but I think they're going to design a game plan for him to get away from Myles Garrett and probably use his legs a lot in this game and tuck that ball. So I think Baltimore wins this game at home going away. I think they stomp the Browns into the ground. I don't think it's very close. That's why I didn't want to touch the total, because I think this is a Baltimore dominant game. I don't think this one is very close. Even though it's a rivalry game that tends to play close, I think Baltimore dominates this one.
I like Baltimore in this game too. I like Zay Flowers in this game. His second best yards per catch performance, by the way, came against the Browns earlier this year. So when we get into the props, I think I'm going to be a little bit back into the favorable side of Zay Flowers, but everything works in favor of this bad boy. Let's go into game number 3. And this is an interesting one, Mr. Andrew Erickson, because Kyler Murray is back. We're looking at plus money. James Conner, maybe a little bit of a question here. This is a nice matchup, which is putting a quarterback who's missed significant time into probably a top 10 startable spot in week 10. And you are interested in some plus money in this Cardinals game. So what's our best bet?
Yeah, Arizona Cardinals plus 1.5. Arizona Cardinals money line. Look, you don't need to tie my arms behind my back to bet against Arthur Smith on the road. So I'm doing it, man. Like, look, the reason the line is why it is because there's just this unknown factor with Kyler Murray. It's like, oh, well, how good is he? Like, how back is he? Is he going to be rusty? And it's like, yeah, he's probably going to be somewhat rusty here and there, but it's the way I see it is it's the books is kind of hedging. They're like, oh, well, if he's only like 75%, like this is a better number. But it's like, okay, Taylor Heineke's the other quarterback on the road. Like, is Taylor Heineke worth 1.5 points more than a 75% Kyler Murray? I don't think so. So for me, again, especially what we saw with them last week, the Falcons laid an egg against the Minnesota Vikings, starting a third-string quarterback who had been with the team for 4 days, and now they're favorites on the road the next week after they lost to the Vikings. I can't buy it. So I like the Cardinals here. Just look at what Murray did last year. So he was 6-6 against the spread. Taylor Heineke's basically been right around 500 as well against the spread since he was the starter last year. So it's like, I think these quarterbacks, even again, Murray 75%, I think it's more of a pick-up. Like, it's between the two QBs. I think they should be valued equally, especially with Arizona at home. Arizona at home this year, 3-1 against the spread. Like, they have been a very good team at home, and I mentioned how bad the Falcons have been on the road. A lot of that has to do with Desmond Ridder, but we saw last week, like, it didn't carry over well with Taylor Heineke making the start. So I really think that this is a great spot to buy low on the Arizona Cardinals. The Falcons, again, they're trending in the wrong direction. 5-game streak of failing to cover the spread as a favorite. You're expected to win. 5-game streak of failing to cover the spread. What's new with Arthur Smith? Maybe he'll give Bijan. The only way they win is if Bijan gets the ball in the red zone. And I'm okay with that. But if that doesn't happen, going with the Cardinals.
Don't hold your breath on that either. By the way, you did the LeBron meme at the beginning. You're like, credit card, traded card, playing card, don't care. Arizona Cardinals plus 1.5. That's what you did. So someone make that meme for it there with the LeBron
Where's
one.
your cigarette?
Yeah, exactly. Headband and cigarette. Traded card, Arizona Cardinals in 1.5. All right, Boggs, we're going to jump over to your third on your sides, your totals, best bets of the week. And you are going to give us a total. So what do we got?
Yeah, I'm going to go over on the Houston and Cincinnati game, and I know a lot of people may roll their eyes at this because it is a high total. It is 47 the last time I saw, and this is more about the defenses in this game and the fact that, I mean, obviously it's the fact that Joe Burrow has looked good, particularly against pressure recently. He's looked very good. I know Jamar Chase, a little nicked up. They're going to give him the goofballs. He'll be fine. I know I'm a little more worried about T. Higgins, but also we saw Joe Burrow last week get the tight ends involved. We saw Irv Smith catch a touchdown. Drew Sample caught a touchdown. So it's not just the wide receivers. And even if the wide receivers are down, I mean, I think Erickson would test this. Josevich looks really good. If he needs to step up and play, Trent Irwin has looked very good. He was the talk of camp for that team as well. So they have decent depth if those guys are banged up. And on the Houston side, I mean, name a hotter player than CJ Stroud. There isn't one. CJ Stroud has been unbelievable recently. And this Bengals defense, this is what I'm talking about. Like 22nd in pass yards allowed, 27th in rushing yards allowed, and they grade out even worse on sites like PFF in terms of defense as well. I think they're ranked like 29 or 28 overall on defense. And Houston is a young defense that's up and coming, but Will Anderson, their best player, is banged up. Blake Cashman is banged up. On the Cincinnati side, Sam Hubbard is a toss-up to play this game as well. So I think if you give two hot quarterbacks time to throw the football, and particularly Joe Burrow, who, you know, is dumping that calf injury and looks like MVP level Joe Burrow right now, I think this one's going to be a fun shootout, a lot like we saw between Houston and Tampa Bay last week. So I like this one to go over, even when scoring is down, even when there haven't been a lot of overs hit. I think this one hits this week.
Yeah, and I was going to point out this game is moved from its opening line at 44.5 has moved up to 47. I was curious if you thought that the 47 was a baked-in injury number, or if it was pushing more like we think everybody's going to play it. Because I'm a little bit worried about both of the wide receivers. CJ Stroud makes every over possible. Every over is in play with CJ Stroud. It's just where the Bengals are.
The Texans defense.
Yeah, it's just where the Bengals are in this with those injuries. I just wasn't sure if you thought this was baked. Did you think it was baked in at all?
I think a little bit, but also, like I said, I like the guys behind Chase. No one is Chase. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and try and argue that point, but I don't think the way Joe Burrow is playing, I don't know that, Chase is the big difference maker here. I think it is Burrow. So as long as he has a good game, I think they're going to be okay. And like I said, I think they give Chase the goofballs and he goes. He had the back injury last week and he played through it. So I think he's going to be okay.
Put your skills to the test today. You hear all of these picks and you go, well, I'm pretty good at this. Well, you can do it. Go to bettingpros.com/NFL contest or check out the community tab on the Betting Pros app, and you can join our NFL contest, weekly and season to date prizes. We've got leaderboards for each as well. Weekly, you can easily still get in on minimum of 5 NFL picks per week. Season to date might be kind of tough because you got 100 NFL minimum picks, so maybe you can pick every single game. It's a great way to test your skills if you're new into the betting market or you're a seasoned pro, because we've got prizes, Jackson Smith and Jigba autographed jersey. We have swag going from the Fantasy Pros and the Betting Pros shop, and upgrades, 1-year premium upgrades on both the apps. All this stuff is in line for you, so check it out today. Go to bettingpros.com/NFL contest or open up your app and check out that contest today. Gentlemen, we have only got a couple more here on the best bets. Erickson coming in at number 4. I think we're sticking with some totals for you for the rest of the way through. What do you got on your 4th of your favorite best bets for the week?
Yeah, I'm getting in on this overaction early in the morning here in New England. New England Patriots, Indianapolis Colts, over 43.5 in Germany. I know the Germans got the barn burner last week between the Dolphins and the Chiefs. No points scored, basically. This game's going to shock everybody because there's going to be points galore. You know, they're expecting Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. No. They're getting Mac Jones and Gardner Minshew. And I bring up those two quarterbacks in particular because they rank, respectively, 1st and 2nd in turnover-worthy play rate this season. We're going to get a lot of short fields. We're going to get pick sixes. We're going to get fumbles. And it's like, oh, that's not good for offense. Oh, no.
Dude, if Kenny Moore has 2 more pick sixes, Erickson, I mean, the guy's going to win Defensive Player of the Year on 2 games.
He's breaking IDP leagues. They don't know how to stop Kenny Moore, the Christian McCaffrey of IDP in fantasy football. But when I look at the Patriots, so they have actually gone over their projected total in 2 of their last 3 games. They had it last week, except for a couple of key turnovers in the red zone by the Commanders, made it fall just short. But the Colts are an over machine. 6-3 towards the over for some of the reasons I brought up with Gardner Minshew, that chaotic way that he plays.
That's the most overs in the league, isn't it? Isn't 6 the most?
They're the over machine. Like, they've just created overs because they have a bad defense that gives up a ton of explosive plays. The Patriots defense, I kid you not, the Commanders were like, all right, 3rd and long, time to convert. Every single time the Commanders were converting 3rd and long because the Patriots are so decimated on defense. All their best players are hurt. Look at the last 3 games, 3rd to last in yards per game. For the Colts, 7th in yards per game allowed, last in points per game on defense, the Indianapolis Colts. Like, nobody wants to bet the over in this game because it's 2 gross teams. They're in Germany. It's in Europe. If the Chiefs and Dolphins couldn't score in Europe, why would the Patriots Colts? Exactly why they will. Because nobody thinks that they can. The defenses are horrible. The quarterbacks are horrible. It's going to be chaos. And I can't wait to watch it with everybody in the world, right? Bright and early with my coffee. And because I can't bet on the Patriots anymore. So I need to bet on the over.
I liked how you said bright and early in New England. How about bright and early on the West Coast? That's still, it's like late in the night in West Coast.
They're not waking up for this game.
It's going to be dark and gloomy is when that game is going to be airing out here. By the way, Patriots have given up over 250 passing yards to quarterbacks 4 straight weeks, and 3 of the last 4 passing touchdowns to QBs. That's a little Gardner Minshew love in there. So the masochist, that is Andrew Erickson, looking for this disaster of a game. Bogman, we're going to totals for you, and you're about to get real boring with us here for week 4. You're going to do the thing that no better wants to do. Bet an under.
Well, yeah, look, life is too short to bet the unders, but life is also too short to toss your money away. Let's take some money here. Let's take the under on the Cowboys and Giants game. It's 38.5 right now. And remember this on opening night, the Sunday night football game. I think it was 40-3 at halftime or whatever, and that was the final score. Like, they didn't do any scoring in the second half. It was absurd. I remember because I bet the over. I think it was like 51 or something in that game, and it made me mad. But we saw the Raiders just hold this team to 1 score. Tommy DeVito is going to do nothing. This is now the most one-dimensional offense in the NFL. DeVito can't get the ball to Hyatt. Darren Waller is out. It's Saquon Barkley for 40 carries again, probably, and a handful of targets as well. They have nothing. And it's not like the Cowboys are clicking on all cylinders. And the Giants defense, to their credit, this is a bad team, but the Giants defense has played well overall this year. They didn't last week against the Raiders because they were gassed. My biggest fear in this game is that the Cowboys score like 49 and go over, and the game is 49-3 or something. That would be my fear to the over here. I think this game is probably going to be something like, 27-3, 27-7, something in that neighborhood. And I think we're just going to see a lot of running from the Cowboys in the fourth quarter and a lot of running from the Giants in the entire game. So I think this is a race to the finish line just to get this game over with. And Cowboys want to come out of this game with a win and healthy. I think that's the big thing for them moving forward. And I don't see any way they lose this game. So I think you get your starters out somewhat quickly if you're up by 3 touchdowns, which I do think could be another one that happens by halftime here. Yeah, so I think this is trending towards the under. I know it seems like a little bit of a trappy bet, but I really like it.
Yeah, I'd say one of the only worries is you don't need it to be 49-3. You got to be more worried that it's 39-3, and that the Cowboys could just bring up and put up 40. I think an interesting bet in this might be, I'd be very interested in the second half number, because if it's 38.5, you probably have something close to like 19.5 first half, maybe around 18 in the second half. And I agree with you. If the Cowboys were to put up a whole bunch in the first half, this game might slow down in the second.
Rico Dowdle.
How many points? I mean, I'm assuming neither of you guys are on, would be like, oh, Giants plus 16.5. Give me, I don't know. What number would you have to be like, I'll take that with the Giants? Like, is 16.5 enough? I mean, because clearly there's no value. No. I mean, I'm not touching this game from a size
23.
point. Like, 23?
23 is ridiculous. That's what I'm saying. Maybe I take the total, the second half total under.
That's why I like the total.
I don't think Tommy DeVito was good enough to start in college. So I don't know why he's a starting quarterback in the NFL today. And it just doesn't make. I would rather have signed Carson Wentz or gone and try to get James something like I don't know. It's all bad.
Colin Kaepernick's out there, guys. I mean, if Martavis Bryant can not play for 5 years, and
I
get a gig,
might rather go with Martavis Bryant at quarterback.
Sure,
so
why
I
not?
do not like Tommy DeVito.
All right, well, we're going to get a little bit cheeky here with our final bet. I was talking about, I like to play with first and second half totals sometimes with the spreads. Erickson, for the final one, you are going to give us a half bet. So what do we got?
Steelers and Green Bay Packers. Last 3 weeks, these teams rank 31st and 32nd in first half points scored on offense. They cannot start games fast in any capacity. This game is probably going to be like 3-0 or 7-0 heading into halftime. So I'm taking the under at 19.5 points. The Packers have just been so bad in the first halves of games. They cannot start fast. The only time they've actually any inflection of any offense is when Aaron Jones has been back. I know he's back in this game, but they just are such slow starters. And the Steelers do the exact same thing. Like, they're not out here trying to win games because of their offense. They're trying to play defense, turn the ball over. That's what they want to do. So, and we tend to see those things kind of happen in the second halves of the games where turnovers, teams start to be a little bit more desperate. They start to drop back to throw more. That's why Kenny Pickett, like, fourth quarter, he's amazing because it's like, well, now we got to win the game. We got to take the training wheels off Kenny Pickett. But in the first half, that doesn't happen. It's super conservative from both sides. So I think the under here at 19.5 is a good way to win some bets early on Sunday.
And guess what? We don't have to do a big transition out of it because the final bet of the day on the best bets when we're looking at sides and totals, we're going to stay in this game, Bogman, as we've done on a couple of these. You don't like a half bet, but do you like the full?
Give me the whole
game?
enchilada.
Yep.
Yeah, give me the whole thing to go under here. This is so conservative. As Erickson said, that they're hosting the Republican National Convention here in this game. It is ridiculous. Look, Erickson, before you mentioned about the high turnover worthy plays, these quarterbacks don't have high turnover worthy plays. Pickett is very low. Love a little bit higher, but Pickett doesn't tend to turn the ball over a lot, so he's not going to set up short fields for another bad offense. This is going to be slow, plodding, terrible, methodical drives that I don't want to watch on Sunday, but I'm going to because I'm a Steelers
You're going to win money, so that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. So the game is going to be like 20-10 as the final, or 20-13 or something stupid. And I hate it, but that's what's going to happen. These guys don't turn the ball over. They're slow. They're plodding. We're going to burn the clock off with a lot of running and short passes in this game. I think this game easily goes under. And look, these teams overall this year, the Steelers are 1-7 playing to the over. The Packers are 3-5. So combined, that is 4-12 in playing to the overs. These teams don't play to the over. So I see this one going under. Again, it fits the trend and it fits both these bad offenses that are slow moving and don't turn the ball over.
Well, again, for Bogman, we've got Houston, Cincy over. We've got Detroit on the spread, Baltimore on the spread. We've got the Giants and Cowboys under, Green Bay, Pittsburgh under for Erickson. We've got Cardinals plus 1.5, Lions minus 2.5, the Baltimore under, the Indy over, or the New England over, however you want to look at that.
Germany over.
Germany over. Which I just can't ever.
Fun. They need something fun over there.
I can't ever take these overseas like totals. It's a disaster. But I do like this one. I like
they call it overseas.
Well, that's right. Oh, there you go. Overseas. Lock it in. And Pittsburgh, Green Bay, first half under for Erickson. That is it. You got your 5 best bets from both of these guys all locked up. You can find Andrew Erickson on Twitter at @AndrewErickson_. Bogman Sports on the Twitter if you guys want to check in with them, because more bets to be had. We'll actually be doing it here. So make sure you are subscribed to the Betting Pros YouTube channel, youtube.com/bettingpros. Hit the notification and get locked in, because we have got props and bets for you every single week. And I don't want you to miss it. Make sure to go and download the Betting Pros apps today, because not only can you get involved in contests, not only can you get notifications that are going to tell you for the best lines, the customization you can do is crazy. You also can go and follow your favorite bettors. You can follow Bogman, you can follow myself, follow Erickson, see what we're betting. You can tail, you can see all of the good stuff, what specific market we're really good in. The Betting Pros app, it's one of the best out there, so go and download that today. That is going to do it for all the hair and none of the balds. We love you guys, and we will talk to you next time right here on Betting Pros. Go win some money, friends.